so you're here in Toronto. You did Out with Dad. You did Clutch, which was another web series that was a lot of fun. Where you were like a hitman in that, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
you got
Killing
to
people is it's a
wear that
specialty.
hat. Yeah, because again, I think you killed me in that one too. You
I
killed me a
did with a
lot.
light bulb.
You killed me a lot. In
Yeah,
fact,
I
many
did.
people don't know. That's why I wasn't on Out with Dad anymore. Caitlynne killed me. It was the Lost
Killed them all.
episode.
Yeah.
She killed me. And it was because I was trying to encourage Rose to stay with Vanessa. Here comes Claire. I'm going to kill. It was called Kill Will. It was Kill Will, Volume 1 and 2.
Kill Will.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Doing It podcast. I'm Will Conlon. Thanks so much for checking out this episode. And as you can see, if you're watching, I have a virtual background up this time, which I'll probably be sued by Warner Brothers for. But it's blue, and I like it. And it's in honor of today's guest, Caitlynne Medrek, who's super fun and creative and very inspiring in that way. So that's why I thought I'd do something a little different, for her. Not because I'm lazy and don't want to move the furniture around and adjust things. Not at all. I'm very motivated, honestly. She's a wonderful person. I've gotten to work with her many times, and she really is very, very positive and is one of those people that just is infectious and looks at the bright side of things. And so I want to have her on, given that there's so much going on right now that's pretty grim out there. And so I thought, hey, let's have Caitlynne on. And we'll share some of that energy with everybody. So let's do that right now. And don't forget, by the way, if you're listening to this and you'd like to watch the episode, you can do that if you go to doingitpod.ca, and right on the home screen, there's a big button that says listen or watch this episode. Click on that, and it'll give you the links for both the audio and the video version. Unless you don't want to see our faces, in which case, how dare you? But here we go anyway. Here's Caitlynne Medrek. And me.
Hello.
Hi. I
Girl.
I was so excited to see you, and just the last second before you popped on the screen, I thought maybe I'll just completely compress all of my excitement and just give you hey, what's up? Whatever.
Classic.
Because it's been so long. How are you?
I know. How are you?
I asked you first. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm so good. I'm super busy. I'm figuring out a new normal, and I just got engaged. And
You got engaged?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Congratulations. When did that happen?
Last Monday. I think it was a Monday. June 22nd.
Super recent. Holy,
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Can you tell me about that? Like how did he do it?
He's been cosplaying with me because I own a princess party company. So my passion the last 4 years has been entertaining children as a princess. And so he's come along for the ride occasionally as Kristoff. And so I got back from a birthday party dressed as Anna, and he came out as Kristoff and asked me to marry him.
That is insanely romantic.
Cute. And all of his best friends were here from BC, so there was a big group of us. There's like 8 of us.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, though. Seriously, you're a great person, so I have no doubt that he's a great guy.
He's the best. You guys would get along really well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully one day we'll do that, because you're way out in. Are you in Alberta?
I am. Yeah, Calgary.
Because you were in Toronto for a long time.
6
but
years.
Sorry, how long?
6 years.
6 years, and you're from Alberta originally, right?
Yeah, from Calgary. So.
This is what's cool, is because we met like almost 10 years ago, I think, because you auditioned for me for a short film that never ended up happening.
Yeah.
As so many short films happen. Everything. It was the classic story where we had everything ready to go, and then the director effed off, and the producer effed off, and there was no money now, and everything, and we just went, fuck it. And it sucks.
No, it happens.
Because I still think about that script and how amazing you would be in that.
Thanks.
but that was how we met, and then we worked together. Even though we didn't do that, we worked together twice.
Yeah.
And I still don't know much about. We went to New York together.
Yeah.
We were always around a lot of people, and we were
Yes.
always doing a lot of things. So this is why I was like, okay, she's perfect. I need to know more about
You're
Caitlynne.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So you're from Alberta,
From
Calgary.
Alberta, born
Yeah.
and raised.
In Calgary, though.
Yes.
And what do your parents do?
My mom is like a paralegal, and
Okay.
my dad teaches welding at our technical college.
Wow, I'm kind of surprised to hear that.
Yeah,
'Cause-
no artists, just me.
How did you get going at such a young age? Because how old were you when you did your first thing?
I was 10 when I was
Yeah.
on stage for the first time. I was a competitive dancer, and I really loved dancing, and my grandma really fostered that in me, and my mom really fostered that in me. And so there was like an ad in the newspaper one day for Wizard of Oz,
Ooh.
theater production, and my mom was like, you know what, Caitlynne, you really love the stage. Maybe you should try, instead of just dancing, maybe you should try acting as well. So I auditioned. I got the part of Toto, and I never looked back. I loved it more than anything. I was such a good dog. People were like, oh, wow, who knew dogs could be so entertaining? And I loved it, and I never looked back.
That's adorable. Did they give you did they change the story so you had lines, or were you just woof woof the whole time?
No lines, but I was on stage the whole time, and so yeah. And ever since then, it's like, how do you go back from that?
And then that was it. That was the moment you remember that
was
was
it.
like, this is it. This is what I'm doing.
Exactly.
So you
So-
must have said to your parents, "Come on, let's get going here. What do I got to do?"
I was really, really lucky that right after Wizard of Oz, the professional world sort of opened up. I was able to do Sound of Music at Stage West right away at the age of 11. And then I moved on to, I did 2 years of Christmas Carol at Theater Calgary at the age of 12, 11 and 12. So it kind of just fell into my lap. It was like right place, right time. It's so rare that theater companies normally do shows with that many kids.
Mhm.
So it just was like this beautiful path that opened up and fell into my lap, fell into my lap, and I never looked back.
What did you do for Sound of Music?
I played
remember?
Marta, so I was the second youngest kid. Theater is one of those
Yeah.
things you
And
have to, like, you learn so much by doing. You know, you can go to theater school, you can go to theater camps and classes, but actually doing and being on stage and knowing what it's like backstage and like, that's what I love. I love the community, the adrenaline, the dressers, the costumes, everything.
When did it really occur to you, I'm going to make a career out of this?
I think it was Christmas Carol that did it. I was 12. I was like, I was getting the opportunity to not go to school. I didn't have to go to school because we rehearsed for 3 weeks out of the year, and they're daytime rehearsals from 10 to 6. So all of a sudden I wasn't a student anymore. I was a professional actor, and I, didn't have to go to school anymore. And then I I got into the voiceover world as well. And then all of a sudden people were taking me out of school so I could go voice cartoons. And I was like, this is crazy. This is so much better. And, it was kind of around then too, when I was like, I don't want to be ordinary anymore. I want to be somebody who can pave my own way and live that kind of life. So I think it was around junior high where I was like, I don't see myself going to college for a dentistry. I kind of put all my focus and energy into acting, because right away I was like, no, this is the path. This is it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I only did 1 year of theater school. High school was awful. I was so lucky that I was working so much outside of school that I didn't have to be at school a lot.
What was awful about it?
I went to a performing and visual arts high school,
Mhm.
and my teacher was very upset that I was choosing to actually pursue a career in theater instead of giving full energy to his performing arts class, because obviously I could have learned so much more from him than actually being out in the world and working. So there was a lot that went along with that. It was kind of 3 years of just this like emotional abuse, and I don't use that term lightly. I'm talking about it in light terms because it is a thing of the past, and I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't had those experiences. But it was awful. 3 years of the worst. There was no support, nothing.
Do you think that teachers that are like that in terms of our chosen profession, in terms of acting teachers or any sort of creative teachers, do you think there's a little bit of, I don't know if jealousy is the right word or anything, but I mean, almost sort of like, here's this kid that's in front of me with all this energy and ridiculous amounts of talent that is going to go further and farther than I ever could have hoped to go. And I've got to find a way to convince her that she needs me to get there, like feed that ego.
I think like that might be a factor. I would say that there's a possibility that played into it for sure. I think he was also upset that he was trying to foster art in other people, and he was trying to make this group of 40 students. We had drama every day with the same 40 students for 3 years. And we started with 40, we ended up with like 14. So he kept kicking people out. He kept, you are not right for this. People kept leaving. It was not a safe or supportive environment at all. And then out of those maybe 14 that lasted, there's 3 of us that are in the arts still now,
Really?
So it's like, maybe he was jealous, but at the end of the day, I think he was trying so hard to foster creativity in this family that he was going about it the wrong ways. Instead of using what we brought to the table and turning the program into something with the skills we already had, he was trying to force what he thought it should be instead of letting it happen organically.
He was J.K. Simmons in Whiplash.
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah.
It's funny because I've had that. I believe that every artist has their own way, no matter what they're doing, and so I've never really believed, as an actor or writer or anything like that, that you stick to a particular method. I think that every artist paints with a different brush and has a different style, and so I think it's good to learn certain methods, and I think you borrow bits and pieces for what works for you, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, teachers that come in like that and say, my way is the way, I am the way and the light, is ridiculous. No, and I think, I think math teachers, sure, math's a finite thing. This is math, and 2 + 2 = 4, and you can't change that. But you can't say that this is the only way to get to a certain emotion as an actor, and this is the only way to learn your lines. And everyone operates on a different scale and at a different rate. Yeah. So I'm sorry that you went through that, but you know what?
No. It's cool. Like I said, wouldn't be here where I am today or have the gusto inside me without it. So sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so you experienced that, and you talked about 40 people down to 14, and now out of the 14, 3 are even still in the industry. How did you manage to stay one of the 3? How did that abuse, emotional abuse, not affect you the way it affected the other 20 or 37 people?
I just won't take no for an answer. Okay. like you and like all of us. This is my passion, and this is what I know I'm meant to be doing. I have tried so many other jobs and nothing sticks. In fact, I have tried so many recently, and I've been fired from all of them, even though I was really, really good at those jobs. Like, I got hired on at WestJet, and I worked for WestJet for 6 months, but it was at the same time that I got Billy Elliot at Theatre Calgary. So obviously, my first equity contract in 3 years, and I get a WestJet job at the exact same time. Like, come on, universe. So I do the same. I literally was doing rehearsals from 10 to 6. I would go to work for 7 o'clock. I would work till 3 in the morning, and then I would come home and I'd do it again. Or during shows, I would work from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. I would do a matinee at 1:30, and then I would do an evening show at 7 and be back at the airport for 3 a.m. It was stupid. And after that, because I called in sick so many times because I was like, I'm not working my 3 a.m. shift tonight. I have a show tomorrow that's way more important to me. I got fired. Which you're like, okay, universe. Same thing. I finally found a serving job that I loved. It was great. The people were awesome. I loved this serving job more than anything. I was there for a year, got into a car accident, and they fired me. But here's the thing. WestJet laid off all their people because of COVID, so I wouldn't have had a job now anyway. Shanks is now closed permanently because of COVID, so I wouldn't have had a job anyway. The only thing that's lasted is my career in the arts.
Wow.
And if that isn't the universe telling me that I am supposed to be in the arts.
And I'm assuming all through this, your parents, and it sounds like your grandma, you said?
Yeah.
Helped you, like, they're right on board. They're just pushing you, go, 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 right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's got to help. That's got to help with that, eliminating those potential nervous vibes or anything like that, just to know, no matter what, we got you, that sort of thing. Is that kind of the family you had around you?
And I think, too, they also saw it. They also saw, like, oh, okay, Caitlynne might have something, you know? Caitlynne's not just up there doing it because we want to be stage parents and we want her up there. I was like, I think they saw too that I really loved it and I really flourished and kept me out of trouble, kept me always busy, constantly at rehearsals. You know, it was a really good, positive thing in all of our lives. And, you know, my dad came to every opening with my mom. My mom only ever missed one opening, and that was because my grandma died. So, you know, it's like, still at the end of the day, they have always been there. And now that I make a living, you know, my full-time job is princessing, I think they're finally like, okay, you're gonna be okay, you know? Yeah. And I get to be a princess every day. Yeah. I think it worked out really nice for all of us.
Okay, so you had a Christmas Carol, you went through high school, you had to go through with that terrible teacher. And when you came out of that, you said it was 3 years with that guy?
It was 3 years, in high school. And then it wasn't until the third year when everyone kind of realized that I hadn't been crazy the whole time. And everyone realized that he was actually a psychopath. So I left early. I got a contract with Charlottetown Festival. So I didn't even really finish. I didn't do our final grad project, nothing. I was like, I am out of here. I'm going to go work. So I left and I did a whole summer, 3 months in Charlottetown. And then from there, I booked, what did I do from there? Oh, from there, I went to a year of theater school. I left theater school early because I booked a contract. So I went and did 6 months in Canmore doing a contract there.
Wow.
And
what kind of stuff were you doing? Like what kind of plays and things were you guys doing?
In Charlottetown, I did the Alberta Fusion. So they have a young company where every day you train with the people and the artists that are in the main company. So the Anna Green Gables, those shows. So your whole summer is spent training in the afternoon and doing a show in the mornings. So we would train, put on a show. And then once the show was up and running, we still trained with the professionals every afternoon, which was like unbelievable.
Wow. That's great. And that was pretty much the next straight year. You said, right?
It was.
Just play after play and training.
Went to theater school, did a year of theater school. Again, I didn't love it. I just felt like I was just going to learn so much more by doing. So I pieced out. I didn't graduate. Like, technically you graduated after your first year of theater school, but I didn't stick around for grad. I didn't do the year-end show. I booked a contract and I left. Yeah.
What made you think, you know, maybe I want to dabble in the film and TV industry as well? Because there seems to be a lot, you know as well as I do, a lot of theater people stay away from that, from film and TV, right? Yeah,
they do. I think the biggest thing was I had really been trying to get into film my whole life. As a kid, I had a film agent here in Calgary. There was a lot of Westerns, a lot of, I don't know, I just wasn't very good at it. I wasn't. I was living and being brought up in a theater world. So I'd go into these film auditions and I would be Caitlynne and they would always be like, ooh, no, bring it down. So I think it wasn't until Toronto, really, where I finally figured out how to act for film. And I think it's just because those auditions were happening so much more frequently in Toronto. And really, when I think back, I had a small actor part on some Josh Hartnett movie here. They cut my scenes. I never even got to see them. Like really small things in Calgary, but nothing that was anything like what we did in Toronto. So
Right.
I think I went to Toronto. There's something that just clicked for me in terms of how to act for the camera. And it kind of started picking up a little bit.
How old were you when you moved to Toronto?
19.
19. Okay, so what was the moment, because you're in Alberta, and had you ever been to Toronto before you moved to Toronto?
No, just to visit once and figure out where I was going to live.
Okay, so what was that like for you to decide you're going to pick up and leave where you're actually doing well, at least in theater, you're busy, right? To say I'm gonna throw caution to the wind and go out to Toronto. And why Toronto and not Vancouver, by the way?
Vancouver was, I knew there wasn't as much theater in Vancouver as there was in Toronto. And because I had done a year of theater school in Victoria, BC, I'd already done that. Like already it wasn't the place that I felt I needed to be at that time. So Toronto, I was really lucky. I know that there's so much theater there. I had an aunt, like my mom's cousin, lived in City Place and basically offered up her room to me because she was going to be traveling for 6 months. So she said, why don't you come to Toronto for 6 months? You can live in my place for very cheap and figure out if you like it. And then she came back. She's also a landlord. So when she came back, another place in City Place that she owned came available, just happenstance of circumstances. And I moved in there, and then I was there for 2 years, and then just never left.
Did it take a little bit of convincing for you to say?
No convincing. I was ready to go. I was ready to get out and do and figure it out. I remember I got swine flu within the first 6 months of living there, because I remember I was still at my aunt's apartment, and I got H1N1 and had the swine flu. And I remember I had to walk to Honest Ed's with my mask on, because Honest Ed's was the only place that still had the Tamiflu drug in the city. So I'm sweating and dying and had to walk through Honest Ed's to get this drug. And I just remember thinking, like, what hell am I in?
You sounds like the same thing that's going on now, really.
Exactly. Yeah,
except
right?
no Honest Ed's.
Honest Ed's. I know. So sad.
That's why this is not doing so well, because Honest Ed's is gone.
Fine.
If it was around, it'd be over.
Oh, man.
No
Honest
COVID.
Ed's. We need you.
I know. So you showed up, and how did you sort of insert yourself into the theater and film and television world here?
Ooh, I haven't thought about this in so long. It's so nice to like revisit these memories. I remember getting online right away, like Mandy.com was a big one. I just remember every morning I'd get up and I'd open my computer and I'd be like, okay, Mandy, like, what do you got for me today? And I would just go. I had an agent right away in Toronto. I went through like 3 in Toronto. It wasn't the greatest, but had an agent right away, so that really helped. I don't think that I got into theater as fast as I wanted to. It took some time. I was lucky to book Pinkalicious, which ran for over 2 years, but I was honored to play Pinkalicious for 2, Richmond Hill, and then we moved to Bathurst. So that was a big one for me. And then once I kind of had Pinkalicious on my resume, I think people were like, oh, okay. So Pinkalicious happened, and then I got to do Spelling Bee. I got to do Mr. Marmalade, Dog Sees God, which is kind of where Jason and Lindsay came into play for Out with Dad. So everything sort of, in hindsight, you look back and you go, the universe always kind of had my back.
Lindsay Middleton you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Who was already...
Dog Sees God together.
Sorry, what'd you do together?
We did Dog Sees God together,
right.
That play. And then I remember Jason came to see it because he already had Lindsay as Vanessa. And so he came to see it because he had seen was working with Lindsay in Out with Dad, and then came to the show and was like,
Yeah. Well, I remember Jason was there when I auditioned you for that short film.
That's right, yeah.
And I'm trying to remember.
It was you and Jason and Corey, right?
Yes, that's right. Corey Loff.
Yeah.
Corey and I had written it, and we were,
Yeah.
because we hit it off on Out with Dad, and we had same thing, this similar kind of creative energy, and we decided we want to work together on something. We had the same sense of humor, everything, right?
Yeah.
And he's writing now, by the way. He sent me something from a book that he's writing. It's really good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He's out of the acting world, but he's a really good writer.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so yeah, because I was trying to remember who it was to suggest bringing you in, or if it was just you had responded to our ad on, I think it was on Mandy. I can't remember, but I do remember Jason being there and being very taken with you as well. And said right away, like, I got to bring her in for Out with Dad.
Yeah.
So you were introduced as my daughter's new love interest, is who you were, right?
Yes.
And that was sort of, it was creating this sort of storyline of who's she going to end up with, this girl or this girl, right? How was it for you to come into something that you had already known was pretty well, hugely received online in various countries in the world, in Canada and everything else, and you're kind of stepping into something that is like, it's not just a matter of it doing well in terms of a web series, but it meant something to a lot of people.
How I feel about it now is so different than how I probably felt in the moment, because you really truly have no idea the reach it's going to have. But then you start getting messages from people all over the world saying, like, you've changed me as a person, you've changed my views and opinions on these things, or you saved my life. I now have the bravery to talk to my parents about this now, like so many of those little things that, like you, I'm still receiving messages about today is kind of the whole reason I want to do this,
Yeah.
The theater industry in Calgary is really hard. It's really difficult. It's very cliquey. They love to use the same 20 actors all year. And I'm a part of that clique. And I'm a part of that clique, and I feel like shit. I can't imagine what it's like to not be a part of that clique and try to weave your way into this industry, So for me, recently, as an older woman than I was then, I want to focus on projects that are going to have that kind of reach.
Yeah.
I can play Mrs. Wilkinson and Billy Elliot, sure, and that was amazing and the most incredible theater experience of my life so far, but I'm only reaching the people that are in that theater.
Right. Where
something like Out with Dad, you have the power and the reach to affect people all over the world with that medium. And so in light of recent events with COVID taking theater away, I've actually found myself feeling so much less stressed and less pressure trying to fit myself into this mold that Calgary's created, instead of doing work where I can be myself and maybe change some people, Calgary loves, there's a theater company here dedicated entirely to murder mysteries. And every year Vertigo does their auditions, and I'm always trying to fit myself into these characters, even though they're not me at all, just so I can work. Which to me is like, that doesn't make sense. I want to be myself and love what I do, instead of trying to fit myself into these roles just so that I can have a job this year,
Yeah. I think that's something especially every actor goes through, is that where do you draw that line between I just want to work and I want to do stuff that means something to me and not just for the paycheck.
Yeah.
So have you been able to manage that better then?
I think it's a recent development. So I'm going to try and move forward that way. I just, it's so disheartening, and this industry is so hard already. And then you also get people coming in and telling you need to be different, where I've worked so hard for the last 30 years to get to where I am right now. And I've gotten here by being me. I've gotten here by not changing who I am. I've gotten here by standing up to the injustices in this industry that I don't believe in. Yeah. And you know what? If I'm right for the part, I will still be hired for that part, because I have the talent to do it, and I'm the right person, and I am professional. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to sacrifice my morals to appease theater companies in the city that I don't agree with,
Right.
Like all the Black Lives Matter things and the important things that are going with that right now. There's theater companies in the city that haven't even said anything.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I don't agree with that. So why am I gonna, offer you my talent when your morals and my morals don't match up anymore?
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, I don't feel like I'm at a point in my career where I technically can do that financially, but I feel like I'm at a point in my career right now where it means more to me to do work that's important and say no to working for a theater company that I just don't see eye to eye with anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So
we'll see. I guess the answer to that question is we'll see.
Yeah. So when you were, so you're here in Toronto, you did Out With Dad, you did Clutch, which was another web series that was a lot of fun, where you were like a hitman in that, weren't you?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you got
Killing
to
people is a specialty.
Yeah. Because I think you killed me in that one too. You
I
killed
did
me a
with a
lot.
light bulb.
You killed me a lot. In
Yeah,
fact,
I
many
did.
people don't know. That's why I wasn't on Out With Dad anymore. Caitlynne killed me. It was the Lost
Killed them all.
episode.
Yeah.
She killed me. And it was because I was trying to encourage Rose to stay with Vanessa. Here comes Claire. I'm going to kill. It was called Kill Will. It was Kill Will, Volume 1 and 2.
Kill Will. And then Blood Riders happened, which
Oh my
to
God.
this day, Will, I watch that at least once a year because it is so good. It holds up so well. And I don't know if it's just like the memories that I see more than the actual film, but oh my God, it is so good. I am so proud of that film and the memories that came with it. And it's the best.
First
it's
of
worth
all-
visiting once a year.
First of all, I was wrong. We worked together 3 times.
2 times. Yeah.
Because I was thinking Out With Dad and Clutch,
And
and I
Clutch,
can't
yeah.
believe I forgot about Blood Riders.
I got to kill you.
You got to stab me in the neck, and I bled out on the floor.
It was so good.
I was a
Everything
Nazi.
so
I
good.
deserved it.
Yes, and you can actually find it online. You can buy it on YouTube. I think it's like $6.99 if you want to watch it. It's so worth it.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I've actually never seen it.
Oh my gosh, Will, go do it.
Do you remember that day that
I
shoot-
remember.
You know what I'm
I'll
talking
never
about?
Forget it. Oh,
Where
I
the
sure
guy
do.
showed up and stopped shooting, and
Yes.
it turned out it was like the guy who owned
He
the
owned the house.
the house, and we didn't know that he didn't know that we were shooting, and he walked in, and there's all this Nazi paraphernalia on the walls, and he walked in and goes, "What the fuck is this?"
Yes.
Like,
It was the scariest moment. I was like mid-stab. I was
you
like,
were.
and it was so
You're
scary.
standing over me with a knife.
Yeah.
And there's the Nazi stuff on the wall, and he walks in, and I
Yeah.
remember I looked at you, and you're like,
Yeah, it was the scariest day of my life, to be honest.
because this was a large man too. He kind of
Yeah.
towered over everybody.
He did.
And then it turns out, just for people listening to this, what had happened was he owned the house, but I think it was like he had subleased it to
Yeah.
someone who subleased it to someone who subleased it, who told the director that he could use the house to shoot this. And so it was one of those things where it never went up the chain. And this guy got calls from people that there's a ton of people at this house. And I don't know if a neighbor saw Confederate flags and all sorts of stuff. It was bad. It did not look good. In his defense, not knowing,
No.
he had the right response. 100%. He had the right response. And but I was surprised. It was within an hour, I think. Because I remember the first thing that was like, everyone was talking about, we might have to shut down shooting because we are going to have to leave this location. And within an hour, they explained it to him. No. Not only are we not promoting racism here,
We're actually killing Nazis. So.
he's gonna die. we're killing him, and it's really violent and horrific, and he doesn't come back at all. He's not a zombie. There's nothing, right?
Yeah.
And so the guy let us continue filming when he found out. Oh, okay. Well, that's
Just another day at the office, you know?
yeah, and that was to this day. I think that was the most thrilling day on set I've ever had, because I just right in the middle of the scene, we're in the middle of shooting too, and he walks in. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was insane. And I
It
think
was
that's
great.
why I love watching the movie so much, you know, it's because like we don't just watch it, we watch it with all the memories, you know, like there was a night Kyle got locked in a gelato shop, or I had to break the car window with a crowbar and I only got one take because there was only one window. So the stress and the pressure. And I just remember actually like the first time didn't work, second time didn't work. They're like, okay, third time's a charm. You can't crack it. It's got to break. So sure enough, I go in the third time, I smash it, and they're like, cut, and I'm like, pff, and I just burst into tears, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried. And they're like, it's okay, and I'm like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. It was so violent.
I gotta tell you, when I had come on set for those couple of days, you guys, I think, had already been shooting for like 3 weeks because this
I
was a
think
feature
so.
film, right? So it was like 3 weeks, and it was Corey Loff and you, Joel Ballinger, and
Yeah.
Kyle. What was his name? Sorry, last name?
AJ Morbido.
Or AJ.
Yeah.
AJ Morbido. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Kyle was the producer. Sorry.
Yes.
And, you know, the thing is, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, where you go on set for something that's already been in production for a while, like a couple of weeks or something like that, and you feel like you are like last at the party and the awkward one out, and it's like, oh, you guys already have a nice little family dynamic going, and I'm just kind of like trying to, and it's not working, is it?
Find your way in there.
You guys don't want me in there, right? You're the last to be picked for the soccer team, and right? I didn't feel that way with you guys. You guys seemed like, first of all, everyone, the cast and crew I've never seen a cast and crew have so much fun on a set. And, I mean, it helped that I had already worked with you and Corey, and I knew Joel, and it just was so much fun. And I'll be totally honest, I'm not big into violent movies and stuff like that. But it was fun. It was so much fun to shoot. We had a blast.
Really was.
And I remember sticking to the floor because after you stab me, there's still like a scene, like a lot of dialogue between you guys. So I had to lay on the floor for like 2.5 hours in this red corn syrup. And when I got up, it was like, I think they actually had to come and squirt stuff between me and the floor just to get my, because it was everywhere. They went nuts with it. Right?
Oh, there's so much blood.
But you were so fun. God, you're always fun to work with. Come on, it's not fair. That's the problem with working with you is that it spoils whoever gets to work with you because they expect everyone to be that fun and engaging, and it's not that case.
Are just so sweet.
I'm not trying. I swear to God, I'm not trying to be sweet. This is what I want people to know is like there are actors that are not fun to work with, and then there's Caitlynne.
Thanks.
You did that. You did Blood Riders, which was a feature film, and a whole bunch of other projects, and then you moved. You left Toronto. What made you decide to leave and head back?
It's a loaded question. It was my mental health mostly. I was suddenly self-medicating a lot with different things. I was super depressed. I was super sad. I lost who I was. I wasn't moving forward in my career as fast as I wanted to. And I think as actors, we all cope with that in different ways. And the ways that I was coping, there was a lot of pressure on me, I felt, to be much skinnier, much smaller. So I was not making healthy choices. Like just nothing about those last few years in Toronto were healthy. And there was one night I was lying in bed and I literally just felt in my soul, like if I don't leave Toronto right now, I don't know if I'm going to survive. I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Not to expose anything personal you don't want to expose, which is totally fine. But just in the interest of, I mean, this is a common thing, especially in this city with artists, actors and comedians, writers that suffer from depression and the anxiety that went on. Was there anything in particular? And again, it's cool if you don't want to say, but was there anything in particular with this industry that really affected that you can talk about or say in any?
Yeah, I truly think body image was a huge part of that. You know, growing up in the dance world, and then as a young artist, you always the first struggle was suddenly I wasn't cute anymore. So how do you navigate being an actor when your thing is you're just so cute? Oh my gosh, you're so cute. And then all of a sudden you're a young woman and you're not cute anymore.
Okay.
So I found for a long time I was still trying to fit myself into this little girl mold. And then as I sort of hit 18, 19, people were like, you need to stop this. You need to grow up. And so then all of a sudden when I wasn't cute, which I could have the cute little cheeks, I could still have that Shirley Temple style figure, you know? And that worked for me for so long. I could still play kids. But then people were like, you can't play that anymore. You need to grow up. And then I just saw myself as that, for lack of a better word, you know? Like the way I saw myself was so skewed and so morphed that I truly didn't think that I would ever be successful because I wasn't beautiful. And that was huge. It was a huge part of it.
It's really, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's terrible. It is. And as a coach and an acting coach these days, that is what I try to preach. You know, stop trying to fit yourself into somebody else's mold. Who you are as a person and what you bring to the table is so much more interesting than you thinking you have to change to fit, you know? There's been a couple things here. I was on Fargo. I played Ewan McGregor's daughter in Fargo.
That's
and
incredible.
I had 6 days on set. But when I went to the audition description was heavy set short girl. And so you're getting these auditions where I'm literally auditioning for parts where they're called heavy set and short. And you're like, that's going to affect you as a person.
Yeah.
But then again, I was maybe heavy set and short, and I got that experience because of who I was. If I was still trying to force myself into a size 0, Fargo wouldn't have come into my lap. So at the end of the day, every experience you get, I think, is meant for you. The goal is to stop trying to fit yourself into somebody else's idea of that and just be you and see what happens.
And what's funny is, too, like you had brought up that you're on Fargo, which I'd like to talk about if we could talk about that for a minute. But that came after Toronto. That was after you moved back, right?
Yeah.
So what's funny about that is when you're, and this is why I'm talking about this so much, because I know so many people, including myself, you get stuck in those moments that could last days, weeks, months, or years, that you hate yourself, you hate your lot in life, you hate your career's going nowhere, you feel like it's over, nothing ever is going to happen for you, it's done, everything that you've put into this, all this passion, it's over. And I know that feeling, and I know what you're talking about when you say, like, you feel like I got to get out because that was eating you alive.
Yeah.
And so the thought that when Fargo comes along years later, which had to be massively exciting for you, to go from I'm never going to have anything good happen to me to I'm Ewan McGregor's daughter on Fargo. Right? Like, it's amazing how, like, I think we got to remember your state of mind isn't any more real than the state of mind people are trying to tell you should be in.
Yeah.
Just ride it out and accept that is bullshit, that nothing's going to happen good for you, because, again, you're walking, breathing proof that even in your own misery, that wasn't the end-all, be-all. There was something huge coming that you didn't even know, and it came, right?
Yeah.
And what was that like for you?
It was crazy.
Such a stupid
Again,
question to ask it that way.
No, it's a great question. It was one of those auditions where I went to and there was no sides. Like, I didn't say anything in that audition. They gave me like a wine glass, a champagne glass to hold up, and I literally just held it up and smiled. Like, that was it. So crazy. Wow. And so I literally left and I forgot about it. It was like, nothing's going to come of this. This is ridiculous. So then about 2-3 weeks later, I got a phone call from my agent. She's like, you booked Fargo. And I was like, what do you mean I booked Fargo? Like, what? And of course, God bless my mother. Anytime I phone her, she picks up the phone. That day, nope, couldn't get a hold of my mom to call her. So I'm just like, what is happening? So it was amazing. And she basically told me on the phone, like, you're playing Grace Stussy. Looks like you'll have about 6 days on set. Sure enough, I got 6 days. I got, episode 5 or whatever it was. I had a whole bunch of lines. I had a scene. I got the dialect coaching. It was like, I don't know if they just trusted me or if at the beginning when they auditioned, they didn't know we were going to have any lines. But me and Nico, who played my husband, it was like, it was so magical.
That's amazing because, like, you would think that for a show like that, you would do 4 or 5 callbacks and then chemistry tests and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And no,
I
you
think
held
it
up a
also
glass.
really helped that I looked just like Linda Cash, the Philadelphia Cream Cheese Angel. She played my mom. And I just
Okay.
remember looking up a picture of her and being like, I get it. I get it. It's because we look the same, you know?
That's phenomenal. And the working experience was good on set.
Oh, amazing. It
Yeah.
was so great. The first night on set, we had to be there at 5 a.m. It was like minus 40 outside, just absolutely freezing. We were shooting in this mansion in Indus that had no running water, no heat. Like, it was a derelict mansion that they revived. But again, I just remember like 5 a.m. I'm so cold. I'm so tired. Didn't sleep the night before. I think I had a cold, so I was kind of sick. I'm so nervous. In the makeup chair, Ewan comes and sits next to me, and I was just like, she was working on my face and my foundation, and he was like, hi, I'm Ewan, and I was like, hey, I'm Caitlynne. My face just went beet red. I'm like, play it cool, as my face is no longer matching the foundation on my skin, you know? Like, so embarrassed, but it was great, and Linda was amazing. I'm so hoping that I'll get to work with Linda again one day. Yeah, everybody. The general. I don't remember their character names. Everybody was amazing. It really
Isn't
was
that the nicest thing when you meet these idols, and they're nice people? It doesn't always happen,
right?
but they're just people, but they're also nice people,
Yeah.
right? Hi, I'm Ewan, like as if you didn't know.
I know. You're right. Like, sorry, who are you?
Can I call you Obi-Wan? No?
Yeah, right. And like Ewan, Moulin Rouge for me, and Big Fish are like my two favorite Ewan McGregor.
Big Fish.
Big Fish, right?
I could spend an hour on that movie. What a beautiful movie that was.
So stunning.
I don't know if you ever listened to the score for that.
Oh man, yes.
It wells me up, just the music, especially that last piece when he's telling his dad the story, and right, look at that.
I know, it's
right?
so beautiful.
It's beautiful. And Moulin Rouge, same thing, which I remember I got dragged to when it was at the theater because I had no interest in it at all, and left going, oh my God, what was that? That was a ride and a half. Yeah. What a brilliant movie.
Yeah, I know. And people always say, they're like, you got to work with Obi-Wan. I'm like, hello.
I know. I just did that. I'm
no,
sorry.
It's okay, though. It's okay because it's true. It's Obi-Wan. The problem is, like, I'm not a Star Wars nerd, so I'm like, I think I'm maybe seeing one.
You know why I said Obi-Wan? Because that's what people will know him more for. Isn't that unfortunate? Because I'm with you. I'm like Big Fish, Moulin Rouge. There's another movie. That he always stood out in. The one with Jim Carrey. What's it called?
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It like nobody saw it, and it's based on a true story, where Jim Carrey plays a con man who goes to prison, and Ewan McGregor is his boyfriend in prison. And
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
I can't remember what it's called. Good. And Ewan gets let out, and Jim Carrey breaks out of prison. It's a true story about him breaking out of prison 3 times to be with him.
Yes. It's so good.
Isn't it phenomenal?
Yes.
It's
Philip Morris.
Yes, I love you, Philip Morris.
That's it.
Oh my God! If you're listening to this and you haven't seen "I Love You, Philip Morris," it is one of the best movies I've ever seen, and it's unfortunate it didn't do well in the theater because it never got marketed properly.
Yeah. And it was 2009, so
I think so.
That's even like 3 out with Dad.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like, and it's you're getting at the fact that it was about 2 gay guys.
Yeah.
And so I guess they figured, no one's going to see a movie about 2 gay guys.
Yeah.
Which is like, grow the fuck up. But it was a great movie. I loved it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd be thinking of. I'd be thinking of those 2 that you mentioned and that. Like, you're Philip Morris. I love you, Philip Morris. You know.
Okay.
Anyway, but that's phenomenal. I'm so glad you had that opportunity because, not just because it's a big deal, but because they got to meet you and see who you are and what you're like and what you can do. Because really, I mean, that's what happens is people work with you, like I said before, and then they want to work with you again. And I don't even mind that you want to kill me all the time. That's okay. That's all right.
Part of
because I know that's not in the scripts. You request that. I'd like to murder him.
I would like to. Yeah. On my resume, I just have movies where I've killed Will.
Yeah, it's true. I'm looking at your IMDb, and there's a separate list for the ones where you've murdered me. But I mean, like, look at, I bring that up. I'm looking at your IMDb, and it's like, Jesus, you just work and work and work and work, and this is just film.
Like that, though.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Of course not. And this is the thing, like, knowing this is just film and TV. This isn't even. I don't think this is nothing. There is theater on any of these lists. This is all just film and TV, right? So I mean, in between that, you did Billy Elliot, which I mean, I can't imagine what that was like. Again, just as an experience, like as a story.
Yeah.
And for that, how long did that run?
We ran
for a month, yeah. And you won a Betty Award for that.
We did.
And you got to go and dress up for it. Like, was this a big event? And you got to go up on stage and thank everyone in the world, and then they had to be like, "Hey, you got to go now," because you wouldn't stop thanking people. Was it like that?
Basically, she had a cowbell. She came out and she dang for everybody that took too long. But it's so funny because I look back at when we went to New York and out with Dad. I won best breakout performance for an actress there.
Yep.
And then I also now have the video of me winning this Betty Award, and like, people shouldn't just, like, I shouldn't make speeches because I think I just swear a lot. Are you being serious, Pete? And I'm like, oh no, Caitlynne, no. So we're stoked for more acceptance speeches in the future. They are not graded.
No, now I have to see you win an Oscar just so that you can get up there and swear so fast that they can't beep it because they can't keep up with it.
Yeah, that'll be.
You know? Oh, fuck this fucking Oscar. Look at this fucking golden fucking man. Oh, fuck, man. This is
serious.
And now so with the pandemic, sorry, what is your company called that you're doing the birthday parties and things like that?
We are YYC Princess.
YYC Princess.
Yes, so okay. Airport code Princess.
And the kids are loving it. They must, you've been doing this since before COVID struck, right?
Yes, we've been operating since 2016.
Oh wow!
And we slowly kind of creeped our way into being like Calgary's top choice for children's birthday party entertainment, which is awesome. And so I was really unsure of how we were going to navigate, a business of birthday parties during this time. And I saw that people were going around the city doing trains for birthdays. And so instead of doing trains just as normal people, I was like, well, we should just do princess trains. Pure princesses only. We had 2 people ask before we had really decided to get the ball rolling on that. 2 people were like, hey, could you come do this? Is this an idea? And from that, I got lots of great marketing materials. We started marketing it, and we have been more successful in the last 4 months than we have been in 4 years.
That's amazing. Do you contribute that to the fact that people are stuck at home and, my God, we need something fun, right?
Yeah, and it's also, I've had this mother that I've been working with a lot over the last 4 months, and she's a psychologist, and she keeps hiring me and hiring me and hiring me. And she said to me one night, you don't know what this is doing for my children's mental health. Oh. Like her 8-year-old daughter is every day, I'm scared for my friends. I'm scared for the virus. I can't go back to school. And her mom's like, she shouldn't be thinking about these things. She's 8. And so all of a sudden then the princesses show up, and for 30 minutes, they just get to remind themselves to be kids and to sing and dance to the sky on their driveway. And we just get to bring a little bit of magic back that doesn't have to do with anything scary or the virus, in a really safe social distance way.
So right back to what you were talking about, doing things that matter, that make a difference. And here you are. I mean, I think nothing's more important than making children feel like this isn't just a world full of negativity. Right? Like they're going to have to deal with a lot of that when they're adults. But like you have realized, obviously, the type of person you are, which is, there's some tough times and there's some bad stuff in this world. But as long as you're a good person and you try to do good things, a lot of that bad stuff I hesitate to say it'll bounce off you as if it doesn't matter, but the point is it won't define you, I guess.
Yes.
You'll be able to say...
And they're our future, right? Like, we need to start fostering the ideas of kindness and magic in kids now so that they will truly shape the world that we want it to be, Yeah. They're looking at the scary things now, but they're going to be the ones who can change it and make a difference. And the beautiful thing about princessing is that they already look up to these characters. These are influential characters, and I refuse to take that responsibility lightly. You know, like that is a responsibility that I feel we can use that power for good.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's like, why not? And the universe literally opened and paved the path for me to be able to do that this last 4 months. So,
well, you're the right person for the job, too. You're the right person
you.
for the job because you have this giant heart that is just full of love. And oh, man, I'm so glad.
And they give it right back to me. You know, honestly, I get so much joy from it. It blows my mind. I get goosebumps just talking about it.
I can tell. It's all over your face right now. You can tell.
Oh, yeah. These kids are amazing. They're so amazing. And the fact that I get to, you know, meet 6 kids on a Saturday who just wants to see their friends and have a birthday party, and then all of a sudden we leave and they're like, well, now I'm best friends with a princess. You're like, I get to be a part of their childhoods, which is insane.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. It's so good to catch up with you, and I wish we talked more often because I do miss you.
We can arrange that.
I'm down with that anytime you'd like. So let's catch up again soon in a not official podcast capacity, where we can talk about all the stuff that we know we both want to talk about, but we have to be professional. You know exactly, because we came close, didn't we? We came close, but we didn't. We kept it.
We're so professional.
We're so professional right now. And now I'm going to leave this in so everyone goes, what are they talking about? Like,
yeah, right? Ooh, drama.
There's lots of drama that we know about that we should.
There's always drama, isn't there?
We work in drama, so that's.
We are.
All right, I'll let you go, and thank you so much, Caitlynne.
You're the best, Will. Thanks for having me. Great to chat with you, and let's do it again. Not 5 years in between this time.
Let's do it. I love you. It's good to see
I love
you.
you too, Will.
All right.
Mwah. Stay healthy.
You too. All right. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See? Positivity, kindness, joy. These all things are possible in a human being. And that human being is Caitlynne Medrek. And I can't thank her enough for being on the show. She's just so great to be around. It just makes you feel good. So thank you, Caitlynne, for being on the show. Don't forget, you can check out the video version of this. If you didn't catch me saying that at the beginning, you can actually watch the podcast on YouTube, and the link for that is at doingitpod.ca. Just click on the watch or listen episode button, you'll find it. You can also check out the podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Just search for Doing It Podcast or Doing It Pod. You can also send me an email, let me know what you think of the podcast and the guests that I have on, and really anything you want, which is doingitpod@gmail.com. And I hope everybody's safe and healthy and happy and wearing a mask and physically distancing and washing their hands, eating their vegetables, staying away from sugar, staying away from bad TV, not watching pornography. Actually, I don't care if you're doing all the rest of that, but you should be wearing a mask and physically distancing and washing your hands, especially washing your hands if you're watching pornography, because that can lead to some very awkward situations. Not that I know. And but you know, hopefully everyone's safe and happy and moving towards that if you're not. And we're always here for you. And if you're feeling down, just listen to Caitlynne again. It makes you feel great, right? Until then, remember, life doesn't happen to you. Life happens through you. And I'll see you soon, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye. Oh, look. The background's fading away. Ah!